Just wanted to ask about the tight end usage. Obviously, we saw Marlon get real involved game one, the last 4 or 5 games. Not as much as that, just how things have worked out. Are you looking to involve tight ends?
I think sometimes the coverage dictates, where the ball goes. I think that's probably the biggest thing. I think he had a good first game. We got a lot of single high coverage, cover 3, and he up the seam, different things. So, I think he had 1 catch the other day or something. So, I just think game by game, probably the coverage dictates that more than anything, and still expect those guys to be. And we're getting Hogan back too, so now we're splitting some reps. One guy's not getting all the tight end reps, and mixing Z Marsh in there and some other guys. So hopefully, as the season goes, those guys will become more involved. But at the end of the day, I think you can't determine, hey, we're going to throw the ball to this guy. I think the coverage probably dictates that more than anything.
On the left, please.
Different type of question, but the McCulley touchdown, Jordan Marshall was wide open on the right side, but he probably wasn't, first, second, or third read. But when a guy's that wide open, should you just skip the other ones and get it to him, or how does that work? I guess.
That play is built for man coverage. That's what they were in. Bryce knew that, and Jordan would be your check down if the other two aren't open. So no, it's a good read by Bryce. Great throw, great catch.
Mm-hmm. And then how is he in his progression of going through progressions and reading coverages?
Who, Bryce? Yeah, he's doing great. I mean, there's a couple. I think there's 5 plays, 6 plays maybe the other night. He probably wish he had back after watching the film with him, but for a guy his age and the experience he has, I think he was pretty good. These defensive coordinators do a better job than ever of showing one look and getting to something else. That's just something you got to deal with and comes with experience. But yeah, no, I thought he did a lot of really good things. I mean, the turnover obviously in the red zone, something that really sticks out. Taking the sack, we weren't quite in the red zone on both, but we were in the score zone, which is right outside of that. With our kicker, we can't make those mistakes, and he understands that. We'll clean that up. But no, he was. I thought he was really good, other than a few things here and there.
All right, Zach.
How would you assess just the wide receiver room, and especially looking after the bye week?
Yeah, I like obviously McCulley. Is still playing really well for us. He's a guy that's a big guy that has some matchup advantage for us for sure. And Andrew Marsh is coming on. And it just got with him being a freshman just more and more comfortable with the offense. The position he plays requires a little more from the standpoint of moving around and lining up in different spots, having to block support sometimes, not block support sometimes. So I just think his natural progression of being a freshman and when you come here and you have to learn all those things at the next level, it takes a little time. But man, the moment's not been too big for him. When he's got opportunities, he's made the catch, and I think that's the biggest thing. He and McCulley both, when the ball has come to them, they got their hands on it, they've caught it for the most part, and that's kind of what we need.
And with Bryce and Marsh and McCulley all just kind of getting more integrated into the system, do you find that you can kind of just let it fly a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, some of the RPO stuff I think he pulled him through the other night because the look was for that, which is good. And, some teams play those. Obviously, everybody plays them a little different. But, yeah, I definitely think so. I think as we get more and more advanced and the season keeps going, hopefully we'll have some more opportunities for those guys.
Over here on the right, Charles.
Yeah, how would you evaluate how Bryce has lived through his first 6 games, and what do you think is key to him improving his completion rate?
Well, I think he's played really well for a freshman, honestly. Again, there's a handful of plays in each game. We all want it back. I don't care if you're him or you're a 4-year starter or whatever. But no, I think I'm really pleased with the progress he's made. From where he was when he got here to now, that's a big jump. And the best thing about him is he wants to be really good, and he's always trying to improve and get better. You see him here all the time, staying early and late, trying to get extra film and stuff. So. Again, it's just a maturation process of him getting more and more comfortable and being a first-year starter. And I think you see that around the country, whether you're a freshman or you're maybe the third year in school and now you're become the starter. I think there's some growth there that they all make. And but, yeah, I like what he's doing so far for sure.
And Sharon mentioned that his footwork might be key to improving the accuracy. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, I mean, his footwork the other night, I think he got loose in the pocket twice the other night. Week before, maybe another time. So some of that, I think, as a young guy, sometimes seeing rush or thinking you're getting certain pressures does that. But, yeah, that's something we're working on every day for sure. But, no, it's not something that's a total issue. You got to remember, too, in practice, those guys don't get hit. They don't, everything's good in practice, right? The footwork's good, drop's good. But as far as the type of drop he took the other night on certain concepts, whether it was quick game, intermediate, or drop back, they were all good. It's just we got to make sure we continue to work on pocket presence, which I think some of that comes with experience.
In the back, Andrew.
Yeah, kind of following up on that, the announcer on TV on Saturday thought that Bryce looked better on the off-platform throws. I guess, how do you work with a guy who...
Who was the announcer?
It was Blackledge, I think, who said that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of these guys, not him, I like him fine, but some of these people make comments that are interesting. But no, he's fine, man. He can make off-platform throws for sure. I mean, you have to be able to. In this day and age, the D-line are so good at whoever you play. They're athletic. You can't just be a statue, and so the ability to throw from different angles and all those things are good, and continue to keep a base. And he's extremely athletic in that respect, and more than I'd say a lot of guys, that I've had in the past. Some, Drake was that way a little bit at Carolina, but those guys they give you a chance when the play breaks down. I think Bryce does that, and sometimes too, young quarterbacks, they're thinking really fast and their bodies, just relax, slow down a little bit, and they rush things. I think sometimes that happens, but I like where he is. He's making progress each and every week, and we're playing some good teams. Obviously on the road, which is a learning experience for all young guys, but he's in a good spot, and we're continuing to work on all those things, to be honest with you.
So is it nice to have, but not like encouraged or the default?
What's that?
Yeah, the sidearm or the feet, like.
Yeah, I mean,
do it, but-
yeah. If the play requires that, based on the look, yeah, definitely. You want a guy that can give you chances to get out of tough situations, and as far as that goes, the off-platform stuff, he's definitely, you've seen him roll left and throw, which some guys struggle with that. You've seen him go right. He's right-handed. It should be easier, but yeah, he does a great job with those things.
On the front left, Ryan.
You guys have 6 games of film now on tape throughout this year. When you're pitching to recruits, what are you selling to them about the future of this offense?
Yeah, I think when you look at what we're trying to do offensively is create explosive plays each and every week. We've done some of that. We've done a better job with those in a lot of respect. From recruit standpoints, I think building relationships and showing kind of how we're going to develop those guys is the important thing. But from our standpoint, offensively, third downs is the big thing for us. We have to improve in those areas, and that's all the way around, from protection to catching the ball to making the right throw to knowing their coverage. So it's just something that obviously the other night I think we had 10 drives maybe and only 9 third downs, and we weren't good on third downs, and we had 2 long play drives that we didn't get any points because we turned it over or we took a sack. So those situational things are probably the biggest focus for us on offense, and the recruits or the guys that we talk to, we when they come to visit, we lay out a plan. This is what we're going to look like. This is what we want you to do here when you're here and all that. But at the end of the day, we're really focused on trying to improve offensively each and every week in some critical areas.
And have there been any discussions at all with Mikey Keene about potentially redshirting this year?
We'll see how it plays out. I don't think with Mikey being an older guy, he's willing to do whatever it takes for the team. And if that means he has to play, I think he'll do that. And if it doesn't, then we'll see how that plays out. I mean, he's an older kid, so we'll have to figure that out as we go. But we don't have to make that decision right now for sure.
Over on the right, Aaron.
When things aren't going so hot Saturday, you're trying to find a rhythm offensively. Did you consider more like design runs for Bryce? Was that in the heart?
Yeah, there were a couple design runs. Yeah, they forced him to give the ball for sure. But I think when you get in a game like we were right there. I think we had the throw down to the 1. We didn't finish the catch, and he threw an interception 2 plays later. You cut that to a 1-score game, get a stop, get the ball back, and we didn't do our part on scoring that touchdown. But I just think, the design runs that you come up with, I mean, some people are claiming that we had design runs in one game, which he took off on passes. So there are design runs in there, 100%. When you're reading the end, or you're kicking guys out and running a counter scheme, and it's something like that. But all those things are part of what we do. At the end of the day, they have to fit each week, depending on the defense you're seeing and so forth.
You mentioned the situational stuff that affected you Saturday. How do you fix that in practice?
Yeah, it's hard. You try to simulate as much as you can. Scout team's different playing against, say, USC's defense or somebody, even Washington or whoever, but you're trying to simulate the things that they do on film and try to put your guys in those situations. And when you design the play, you're trying to give them the look you think they're going to see, but also maybe a look that's hard on that play. So he's seen that before. It's just a constant balancing act of putting our guys in those situations and emphasizing it. I think that's the key for us. And we all 11 have to play clean for us to execute, and that's kind of what we're focused on right now.
On the right here, Tony.
Yeah, building on Charles' question from earlier, Bryce is, I think right now he's 18 out of 18 quarterbacks in completion percentage and tied for 18th in touchdowns. I guess at the beginning of the season, had somebody told you that's where he would be at this point, would you be surprised? And then beyond that, how do you? There's obviously been a ton of raw talent and upside. How do you balance the production versus the other problems that might be causing that production?
Yeah, I think that's what you do each day as a coach. You're trying to evaluate and fix things. That's kind of your job, and based on the best opportunity for your team to score points and so forth. As far as, I don't really think about those things that you mentioned earlier. We're trying to win the football game and put us in the best position, and there's things that we can do to do better to do that if we'll just execute a little better, and then maybe I think sometimes too as a coach you got to figure out, okay, are we putting our guys in the best position? That's something that's definitely fair for someone to ask, and I think we're continuing to work through those things. But at the end of the day, every time you call a play, you have a plan where the ball should go, and we got to make sure we do that, and we got to make sure when we get the opportunity we catch it, and we got to protect. I mean, it's a lot of things, not just one person or one guy. And at the end of the day, our job is to score points. We haven't done a good enough job of that in a couple games here for sure. So that's what we're striving to do.
And then just an update on Justice.
Yeah.
What are you?
We're hopeful. I don't know. It's probably a wait and see thing. I don't really know, to be honest with you, yet.
Angelique.
Chip, last night Andrew was saying that they did not rely enough on technique Saturday at USC, and I think that was sort of across the board on defense too, some maybe fundamental breakdowns. How do you hammer that home and in practices? What do you do?
Are you Andrew Marsh?
Did I say Andrew Marsh? I say Sprague.
Yeah. Up front, it is a very technical position. The O-line, from a standpoint of footwork and pad level and hand placement, and versus this look, I take this step. Now we're getting this look, I have to do this step. So I think for us, and Sharon been stressing this as well, is like fundamentals. Like, let's go back. Let's get back to the basics, the fundamentals, and which you do every week. You reset, but at the end of the day, I think that's the key to us. Because really, when the bullets start flying, you have to trust your preparation. Right? You have to go back to what you build as something that you do consistently from a fundamental standpoint. And I think that's what I know we're focused on at every position, but for sure in the O-line too.
And you said a little bit ago that it's fair to ask, are you putting the guys in the right position? How would you assess that?
Yeah, I think at times we are. I think at times we are, but at times we can all do better, including myself. I mean, that's the nature of the business we're in, right? We're here to try to get our guys to play the best offense we can, and in some areas we're doing a solid job. But for me, when you look at the games that we've struggled in, the third down show up, and we have to improve in that area and do a better job of executing and getting first downs.
Right here, Austin.
From the NFL on down, it seems like a lot of offenses are having success with the 2 tight end sets. I haven't looked at the numbers to see how much you guys are doing it compared to years past here, but do you have a percentage in mind in terms of how much you'd like to be doing that?
Just in general?
Yeah, just using.
12 personnel. Yeah, I think that's a huge part of what we do. I think some of it depends, too, how the other team sees your guys. In other words, some of our tight ends they may see as, quote, receivers and play nickel defense instead of base defense, So to answer your question, I think each and every week you evaluate, okay, who are the players we're trying to get the ball to, and then how does that fit into the game plan based on the looks we'll get in those personnel groups. And, I wouldn't know the stats on 12 and 11 and 13 and so forth, but I think we try to have a good mix of those things and try to do our best to keep guys' defenses off balance and use those guys in different ways. And a lot of it depends on their skill set, what they're good at doing, I think.
Got time for 2 more. We're going to go Chris and Zach. So we'll start with Chris.
How does Marshall's emergence kind of open up the offense a little bit and give you more options?
Yeah, I think it helps because he gives you a guy on the opposite side of McCulley that you feel pretty good about making plays. He's proven that. I think he had 9 targets the other night and caught 8 of them, is what I saw somewhere. So I think for us, continuing to get those opportunities outside, and we talked about, the tight ends as well. They're going to be a huge part of what we're doing. They have been early in the season, but the last few games the ball just hadn't found them. But I think anytime you get another player that can emerge and it makes you harder to defend, and I like the progress he's making for sure.
When you say that the ball hasn't found the tight ends, there have been plays for them, it just hasn't progressed?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily thinking that we really call plays for certain positions. They're in the progression of the play, and either, sometimes we've thrown the ball to the first or second progression and didn't get to them or whatever. But I think early in the season there were some looks that were good for that. But I think you'll see it happen again too.
Last question, Zach.
What are some of the challenges that you think Washington presents this weekend?
Yeah, I tell you, they do a great job of challenging the receivers. They got two good corners. I think they're really good players. The safety's also a good player. They muddy the front up with different looks, some odd looks and some even looks, so make you communicate up front from an all offensive line standpoint. They're just really talented. They run to the ball well. They're very well coached, and they're playing well right now. So I think those are the things. They got a lot of confidence, I'm sure, and a huge challenge for us. Get them at home, which I think is really a huge advantage for us. But also we need to go out and play better, and it's going to take a great effort for us to get that win on Saturday. All right.